Oh my goodness. Welcome back to BRB Gaming. You are here with me, Thor.
And me, Stubborn Pixel.
Oh, the Pixel. He's back.
The Stubbs.
He's back. The Stubbs.
The dude. I'm alive.
Guy. He's alive. A little bit of an odyssey this past week there, bud.
Yeah, man. I'm covered in mosquito bites. I'm just hurting for a hot shower. Yeah, we had a wild time up there, me and my friends. One thing went wrong after another. It was sort of a comedy of errors, and none of that really matters because I got to play Mega Man X, my GPD XD, and its infinite battery life.
So Stubbs went out in the middle of nowhere in Alaska, right, to a cabin that you could only get to by float plane, meaning the plane lands in the water on the lake, all right?
Yeah.
Played a bunch of games, ate a bunch of food, chilled out, and then got stuck there for an extra, was it 2 days, 3 days?
3 days, yeah.
3 days, yeah. And poor Chthonox is at home, pregnant, worried about him. He's out there with the satellite phone, running out of minutes.
The float plane almost had a crash, almost had an emergency on the way in to drop us off at the cabin because of the crazy turbulence. And what do you call it earlier, Thor? When you hit a pocket of bullshit in the wind? A thermal. And the plane's like, and dude's like, I can't do this. I need to land. I'm like, is this fine? He's like, we're fine. And he lands on the lake, kind of roughly. We're getting jolted around. And he's like, he looks at me. He's like, we were not fine, but I landed. So we're going to fly tomorrow instead. And I'm like, okay.
How do you feel about flying, Stubbs? I know it's one of your favorites, right?
It's my greatest fear. Yes, it is. I was being tossed around like a rag doll in this float plane. And I'm in the co-pilot chair, and there's, the steering handlebar things for the little plane. And I'm grab onto those instinctively when the plane's jolting around, not knowing that I'm now steering this damn plane. He's like, get your hands off of that. Oh my God. And there's little rudders for me that I'm stomping my feet into. He's like, don't touch my rudders. I'm like, oh my God, don't put me in an airplane. Don't put me
There's no brakes on this plane, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know how to fly. You got to give me a class. It doesn't run RetroArch. I don't know anything about this thing.
Well, you know what does? Your GPD. All right, because you completed 3 games, you said, right?
I played 3 games. Well, I lied. No, I completed 2 games. I'm about to beat the third. So I beat Mega Man X, Game of the Month, in Retro Handhelds. Iridian 2 for the Game Boy Advance, which is like a vertical shoot 'em up. I've never actually beat one of those before, and that was really fun just to go through and just mindlessly shoot stuff in a bullet hell environment. And then South Park for N64. I would have never in my life gone through my library, picked out South Park, and then played through the whole game. But
shout
because
out to Hav for that one, right?
Shout out to Hav of Reset Collection, because our beautiful boy Hav built this randomizer feature and then built a whole filtering system, went way above and beyond. And I'm putting stuff in. I'm like, I kind of want to play an N64 game. I kind of want to maybe do in the years of like 1997 through like 2000. So I'm putting in my filters. Random, South Park, open it up. I'm playing it. I'm Cartman. I'm throwing snowballs. I'm like, this is actually really fun. This is actually a really fun experience. Maybe it's because I'm out there in the woods with just 3 other dudes. It's kind of like, and you have the 4 dudes in South Park. Just something about it. The turkeys are gobbling at me, and aliens are shooting, and mutant cows are coming after me, and Terrence and Philip dolls are farting. And I'm like, this just makes sense. This sets the mood. And I love it. And
really
I played
feel the late 90s.
Right? Exactly. And we had been watching a lot of South Park on our little projector out there in the cabin. So it was just, I love it. So I got to beat it. I'm at the end of the game. But here is actually Chthonox guest starring. I think she wants to tag team in.
Yeah.
Because thanks to you and Chthonox, I am home again.
Yeah.
Chthonox and I put together a whole rescue plan. All right. It was a whole thing.
It's true. Yeah. Well, things were getting really, really, really stressful because the satellite phone was not working properly. They were apparently low on food. The plane kept not being able to reach them. I'm looking at the weather forecast, and all it is rain and fog and clouds and wind for like 2 weeks out.
Ugh.
And I'm thinking, awesome, he's going to be stuck up there, and they're going to have to resort to cannibalism or some ridiculous.
Yeah, the pilot asked us that at one point. He's like, "Sorry, I can't pick you up again today, but you guys started eating each other yet?" And I'm like, "Ha ha ha ha! Ha. You're hilarious.
What a jerk.
Please pick us up. Please fly through the turbulence and just risk your life and pick us up so that I can have a hot shower and be with my wife."
Well, we were forming a whole rescue effort. Chthonox started talking about how she was going to fly up there to Alaska and like try to charter a boat or some shit like that. I was like, no, you're 6.5 months pregnant. No. If anybody's going to go, I'm going to go.
Yeah,
go get him.
I was
go
ready
get his
to
ass.
hike into that wilderness.
I know you were.
Yes, it was probably a bad idea. So it was probably better that you offered to do it.
So I'm looking at tidal maps and calling stevedore services and charter boats and all that kind of stuff. And finally, I got a hold of a guy that had his wife worked for one of the float plane services, and she was like, "Yeah, there's no way to get up there." I think what she said was, "Ron, now you tell him that there's no way to get up there by boat. You tell him that."
Yeah, I know. My buddy Kyle on the trip, he had also like figured out like, hey, here's how we have to hike. We have to hike and go down the river and go to another lake and then get to the bay. But then we're on a little dinghy out in the ocean, trying to get to land.
Yep. And
I'm like, oh, let's give it another day. He's like, I don't know. Toilet paper's running low. We're all out of the good food. We're all out of, soda, beer, everything that's good. And we're about to just start eating, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't want to know.
Soiled ham out of the garbage. So,
the garbage ham.
Not that.
We'd a dude ruffling around in the garbage.
There was a point where I was sitting here waiting to see if they came and picked you up to call the Forestry Service and the USDA to come get you. All right.
It's true. You were on standby, like ready to go. Like, all right, I'm going to do this next. I'm going to do this next. Here's the plan where we go from here if they don't get picked up today.
So they're going, all right, it's like $900. I'll be in Alaska. I'll be there at the airport by 9 a.m. All right. I was ready.
You guys. I appreciate that so much. It was so nice when we finally got out and finally the plane showed up. And then, there were 4 of us. So that my other 2 friends decided they're the ones who take precedence to take the first flight back. Because the pilot was not 100% sure that he could come back and get us, me and my other buddy.
Great.
Second, he's like, I think I can. I'm pretty sure the weather will stay good for the next hour.
Praying that the plane comes back.
Praying. I'm making nervous videos. Like, I hope if I never see you again, if I'm here another week, just know that I almost done with South Park for N64. I promise I'll beat it as soon as I can. I might run out of my power bank. I don't know. The GPD has 11-hour battery life, though. So far, it's done me pretty well. I haven't had to recharge this thing the whole trip because that's what's important here.
Yeah.
And I missed you. And Thor, I missed you, too.
Just so you know, I put down Tales of Arise for you because that came out this week. All right.
Oh.
And I actually found myself with a window of time to play it. Okay.
Yes.
Because I canceled my work and stuff for the next week because it's my turn to go clear my head and drink and watch TV. All right.
Going to the wilderness. Yeah.
So it's WAB time. We bend at Berta's. We sit out there and watch anime and get drunk, and it's good. But yeah,
that's freaking awesome.
Tales of Arise got released this week. Are you going to get it? Are you going to play it?
I've never really been into the Tales games. I played Tales of Symphonia for GameCube a little bit. I couldn't get into it. So you're a fan. You're a fan of these ones.
I'm a fan of this one. I was not a fan of Berseria.
Yeah, I played that little bit of that one.
But this is actually very reminiscent of Star Ocean.
Really?
To me, yeah.
Good battle system?
Great battle system.
It's like an active action battle system, not like
but it's still that like arena base. So you're not on the overworld. You go to like a little battle area.
And you're running around the screen, swiping with your sword. That's cool.
Control all the different characters, and it's a whole thing. It's really good.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, Chthonox, you and I played through Star Ocean 1, remember?
It's true.
And that, the HD remake for PS4, basically.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Introduction to all of that.
Now, that was your first RPG.
It was, yeah. I had never played any of the RPGs, any of them. So I got introduced via Star Ocean, and then we played Final Fantasy VII.
We played a little bit of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
That's true. And we played Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
We played through that. That was
Well,
good.
this-
Yeah,
Yeah.
This battle system kind of reminds me of Star Ocean 4.
that's cool.
So-
Yeah, that one I haven't played much of, but it's still on my roster and my backlog.
It's a good one.
So I got to
You
beat
got to
South
get that
Park
4K
first.
remaster. Yeah, you do.
Got to do. I have the 4K remaster of last something, Last Hope International or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Got
now,
that.
I have a real question for you.
Sure.
Before you left, I dared you to beat
Yeah.
Final Fantasy Tactics in the Wilderness.
Yeah, that's right. And I was so gung ho. I had
Yeah.
like 4 different versions ready.
How far did you actually get in it before you were like, nah, fuck this?
All right. Well,
Be honest.
okay, hold on now. When I got there, I immediately looked at the scenery, said, oh, it's a beautiful serene place. I should probably go fishing and
Right.
like go spend time in nature. But I immediately went into the darkest part of the cabin, hunched myself over and played Final Fantasy Tactics. Because I'm like, I'm doing this. But if I'm going to do this, I better start like minute 1. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm focusing in.
The 40-hour
I
game,
play-
my friend.
And my buddy Kyle I think he's beaten it, or he tried to guide me through part of it. And he's like, all right, you're going to do this and this. He's like, actually, it gets kind of complicated and crazy. And, oh, you're going to be stuck here for, hours and this and that. And the story, like, isn't quite hooking me. And the battle system is so slow. And it's, like, turn-based to the point where I'm just not having fun. And I'm finally like, all right, let me switch over to Pokemon Mystery Dungeon.
Bad game, by the way.
The other game of the month, because I'm like, it got voted game of the month. It's got to be good. It's like not a Pokemon game. It's like I don't know. I really couldn't get into it. It's too maybe simplified or something.
Yeah.
It didn't hook me. So I ended up on Mega Man X, played through that. That game you can beat in about 3 to 4 hours. Solid.
That was the
experience.
reasonable one.
It was the reasonable game to play through. And I knew I could do it because I did it as a kid. It took me a little bit longer and I had to use save states, but I still got it. I still got it done.
That's why save states exist, my friend.
It was a beautiful thing. But no, I did not complete your challenge, and I don't think I ever will. I think the artwork is beautiful. If Rapid listens to this, he's probably going to be cursing my name to the heavens. But
yeah,
I can see that it's a great game. I can see why it's a great game. I just don't think it's for me.
Yeah,
that's it. That's what it is.
That's how I felt about Mega Man, but I did that shit anyway.
That's how you felt about Mega Man. What?
Dude, they're like
such a good series.
The Dark Souls of that generation. They're just so hard for no reason.
It is ridiculously hard. That last part of the game where you're refighting all the bosses, but the harder versions of them, and you're like trying to manage your energy tanks and your life, and it's nuts. You have to use save states now. But back in the day, we didn't have that. Somehow I beat that.
Somehow, yeah. No.
Somehow.
I used probably 200, maybe 250 save states to beat it. All right, just to be real.
Me too. at my advanced age, yeah, me too. It was.
Is that what it is?
Happening.
Is it because we're elder gamers?
I don't think so. We're early mid-teens, maybe early 20s. That's what we are now.
Is that what we are now?
I don't know how old we are. Who knows?
Maybe mid-teens since we played those games. Yeah, 20 years.
I feel like we've aged 10 years since COVID started at least.
Well, yeah, there's
I
that.
don't know what reality we're in at this point, but the point is that I really just thank you guys for literally saving me and planning, and you almost chartering a damn boat to Alaska and hiking through trails and rivers. If I would have seen you on that lake, you're like, hey, I'd be like, oh, I beat Mega Man. And you'd be like, this
I did too.
Yeah, we did it. This ADD motherfucker. Come here. And then you would have dragged my ass.
No, I wasn't going to leave you out there. That's all.
Yeah.
I just wasn't going to leave you out there.
When the outhouse started raining on us and there was a leak in the roof and the reverse bidet situation was happening. Right. I was done.
The wild bidet.
The wild ceiling bidet. I was like, okay, I'm not seeing any bears. Little frogs are jumping all over me. Can't catch any fish. Well, my buddies caught fish. We ate some fish.
Well, that's good. You gamed. They caught some fish. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was in there with my waders though. I was casting. I was trying all things. In fact, I was fly fishing. I'm very glad to be back and just getting kind of caught up in all the happenings. So some things happened while I was out last week. a freaking new handheld came out of nowhere from Anbernic. This RG351MP is out in this. I mean, I love the color, the blue color.
It has the blue, and it's going to be blue, black, and mint green, I think.
Mint green, I wasn't so keen on the look of that, but the blue was pretty nice as far as metal handhelds go.
I want to see it live without renders before I pass judgments on the finish.
Well, I watched Taki's video on it, and Russ's video as well.
Did Taki have a mint in it?
Taki had a mint and a blue, and he's giving away his mint in that video. I mean, it looks solid. I'm not hyped for it. I'm not excited for it. If they would have put Wi-Fi in it, I probably at this point would go for that over the V because it has that second analog stick for that game that we never play.
Right.
And
Ape Escape.
Ape Escape. But we're not. I don't know. We're too late in the cycle of the 3 through 26 devices that I don't know why.
Well, they had the opportunity to make the ultimate 3326 device, right?
They could have, right?
They swapped the controls over from USB to GPIO, all right, which is a different form of interface.
You have more direct.
Yeah, potentially it has the ability to be more direct. Yeah, so even less input lag, potentially. But then they decided to make it a full metal body and not even put on the plastic side panels like they did on the original M.
Right.
And so in that process, they just left Wi-Fi out completely. Now, I was in a conversation earlier today about using the UART port that's on the motherboard as a serial interface for the Wi-Fi, which is possible, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's deeply improbable because it will require a tremendous amount of work. And then the whole thing is metal. It doesn't have the plastic sides. So getting a signal out of an aluminum handheld is going to be that's a tall order.
Yeah. And plus, I mean, the metal I realized owning some of these, the 350M and the 351M, it just weighs it down. And for the size of the device, it kind of is not very comfortable for long-term gaming. Yeah.
And with this one being a little bit bigger, because it's more like the RG350M. Because of the 640 by 480 screen, it's a little bit of a heftier lass.
I can see that. I mean, you do get that 640 by 480, that 4:3 aspect ratio. Right. That's nice. That's great. I don't know who this is for.
If you're going to do that, though, go Retroid Pocket 2 or the V, the 351V.
I mean,
the V has Wi-Fi in it. Yeah, or the 351M. Yeah.
You get Wi-Fi in there.
Yeah.
Now, they said it was due to a chip shortage, supposedly.
But
why the Wi-Fi?
Real quick, though, the 351M has the that lower resolution screens at 320.
It does. That's right. Which you can start to see. You can start to really see, like, okay, this is definitely a lower res screen as you're playing. So I think I like that they released this. It's for somebody. Taki really liked it.
It's for somebody who is new to this community, I think. Because it has the dual SD slot, which is cool.
Yeah.
And makes
like the V.
loading up your own ROMs real easy. But it doesn't have Wi-Fi, so no retro achievements, none of that, no OTA updates,
Yeah. And are you even going to think about porting 351 Droid to it?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will. We'll try. The GPIO controller is going to stand in our way, probably. We'll have to do some driver work. No Time to Date, one of our community developers, who's awesome, by the way, he managed to set up a driver for the Wi-Fi on the Game Force for his iteration of Android, which is very similar and worked alongside with 351 Droid. So the Game Force Wi-Fi now has a Lineage OS operating system. So the Game Force has Lineage now, and the Wi-Fi works, is what I mean.
So I have my Game Force here now. Yeah. I waited the right amount of time before loading on a firmware. So I think I'm going to try out. Yeah, I'm going to try out his latest build, and I'm going to go with that because I'm an Android guy at the end of the day.
And I am too. I like the Linux flavors because I like the interface. I think it's time to get more serious about a launcher, and that's something that I've been working on in the background. I haven't really talked about this much for a while. But I recerted my C++, and I'm almost finished with that class, as well as I've been learning the ins and outs of RetroArch, RetroArch, whatever you want to say, and making basically a proprietary open source launcher for an Android operating system that's gaming based. So that's in the works.
Yep.
And
stoked for that.
It'll be bundled in with Acer eventually when we get there.
Yep.
So
that is, and I can't wait for that. I mean,
we'll be bringing Acer to a lot of devices potentially, including the Odin and the KTR1.
Now the KTR1, that's an interesting device, which seems like it's becoming more and more of a reality now. We're hearing from the dev. We're seeing him around
which
more.
I have a very difficult time pronouncing that. I think it's like two words have been mashed together. But the developer of the KTR1, who's a very, very nice person, and this is like the definition of passion project. All right.
Yeah.
This guy's put his own money into this. 3:2 screen aspect ratio. It's the same Snapdragon 845 that's in the Odin. So that performance will be very similar. But it's the 3:2 aspect ratio, which is the classic squared aspect ratio for the screen instead of the widescreen.
Interesting.
It would be more like if the RP2 had a Snapdragon 845 in it. Think of it like that.
Well, I love its form factor, and it looks like a comfy device. Now, I know what we've seen thus far is more renders.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so the reality is we'll just have to wait and see. I'm very excited.
I've discussed it with a developer, and they've delayed his prototype a couple of times. He's supposed to have it in hand by the end of the month.
Yeah.
This month being September. We'll see. We'll see on that.
Now, do you think it's going to be named the KTR1? Do you think that's going to be the final name for it?
I don't know. I didn't even ask him. I'll ask him that.
I mean, it's a good question, right?
I kind of hope so.
Because we were calling that other device the 199 forever.
Yeah.
And now we're calling it Valhalla. And then now it's Odin. And by the time we got to Odin, I'm like, but it's the 199. That name had stuck for so long. So now I'm still getting used to the new name, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's good. Cool.
I hope that it stays that, because it is a passion project, and it's really neat. Now there's been some chatter on whether or not it's going to take down the Odin or the Odin's going to take it down or blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. They're going to duel.
Yeah. Who gives a crap? I mean, it's the same chip. Right. I mean,
let's play. Let's just get these things out. Let's play. Let's see which one feels right. Because what we're all after. We keep saying it. We're all after the one device.
Yeah, the one
to rule them all. That's all we want.
So they're both going to have 5 gigahertz. They're both going to have dual analog sticks. The KTR1 is actually supposed to have 2 different models where the left side D-pad and analog stick are reversed. So you can, if you like that Xbox style layout, you can choose that. If you like the PlayStation style layout, you can choose that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now that I did not know.
Yeah. So they're not reversible. Like, it's not hot swap, plug and play or anything.
You got to buy a separate model.
Right.
Okay.
But it's a separate model. So if you like the Retroid Pocket 2 layout, you can buy a KTR1 in that format. If you like the Anbernic style layouts with the analog sticks at the bottom, you can buy that too.
Yeah. I call that, like the PlayStation with the
PlayStation,
analogs down there. Over the years, I've definitely become more of the Xbox guy with the swaps. Yeah. Analogs. So we'll see.
I don't hate it on the grip for the RP2.
Yeah.
Personally. That's my first device really that has that kind of layout, except for like a 360 controller on PC for emulation. So
I like it. I dig it. Yeah. So
we've got a couple other device reveals from this week. What do you think about the Miu P60?
Right. So that's the new handheld from BitBoy. It's their first Android handheld.
Right.
While they're at it, they put a P60 Helio processor in it, right?
Which is kind of what I was hoping for in the RP3, but the RP3 might actually be a little more powerful than that, depending.
That's nuts. I know we were just talking about this processor before we had the Odin in our lives. And we're thinking the P60 is really going to be the killer. Like, that's going to be GameCube level. And from the footage I was watching of the Miu, it's playing like Wind Waker.
Okay.
It's playing some GameCube games, and I'm like, really? That's nuts in this little form factor. So that's really interesting. Running Android 9.
What are people thinking the pricing is going to be on it?
I have no idea.
No idea? Okay.
If I were to speculate, now is it a touchscreen? Did you see if it's a touchscreen?
I don't know.
I think that's the thing that breaks it up between it being $100 versus $200, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. I hope it's a touchscreen.
I think we got to start seeing, for Android devices, we got to start seeing touchscreen only.
Yeah.
We can't freaking do mouse mode anymore.
Yes, it is a 4-inch IPS touchscreen at 800 by 480.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, that's good resolution.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be like $180.
You think so?
I think so.
I think that's a, if they did
You
that,
think it's too high?
I think it'd be a poor pricing choice versus the Odin Lite.
150?
Yeah.
You got the touchscreen, the chips.
It sounds like they're pricing the 351MP at 150.
Well, yeah, that metal shell, it just adds on to the cost. And
I know, but they're removing features.
They're removing the Wi-Fi. I cannot, in good conscience, recommend the 351MP over the 351M, even though you're getting a better screen.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know.
Yeah. At that point, go V. 351V.
Go V. Just having experience with those metal shells, they're really cool looking and they stay nice and cold. That's awesome. They do. I love that factor.
Yes. No palm sweaties.
But they're just the size that these things are and the heft of them and the weight. It's not comfortable for long-term playing. You're not going to get more than a few hours. For me anyways, where I'm like, okay, I'm cramping up. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up a different device. What else?
So we got the Miu, we've got the Odin. Did you see the little bit of Odin drama that happened?
Which aspect?
The fact that the Lite will not be using the dock's DisplayPort over C.
Oh, yeah, that's update number 5 on their Indiegogo. Yeah, I read about that. So
you can still use an HDMI cable.
Right.
And you can still use all the controller ports and the USB stuff on the dock.
Sure, but it's a dock for a reason, right? You want to put your handheld on the dock and have it just connect to your TV directly. When I had the Win 3, I would just dock it. Boom, one step. It's connected to the TV. All my accessories are connected to it. I don't want to have to be plugging in a wire.
Yeah, no.
A separate wire to the device itself just to output to my screen. That's crap.
Yeah.
Luckily people can still luckily people can still pull out of the funding if they want. They're like, okay, with this new information coming to light, new shit has come to light, man. I watched The Big Lebowski last week. This isn't NOM. This is the retro handheld community. There are rules. So, I don't know.
I don't know if that's enough to make anybody pull their order. I see the Lite as the streaming device, as what I want in my hands.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Well, and that got me thinking, I'm glad that I did pick up a Lite and a Pro, because the Pro I'm going to keep docked. And that's going to be like my NVIDIA Shield replacement.
Right. Same
the
for me.
Lite,
I'm going to try
just not going to dock it.
Server. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, run a Plex server. It's going to have a processor that probably beats out the Tegra X1.
Oh, most definitely.
So we're talking, just dock your Pro, buy a second one if you are able to. If you're crazy like us, buy a second Odin so you can have one that's just on the go and for streaming.
I agree. That's definitely how I'm going to be setting up. I'm also going to be receiving a KTR1 because we're going to be doing some dev work on that kind of stuff for custom firmware and a few other things. I don't know, man. I'm really hyped for this generation. It's kind of killing me inside that we don't have these devices in our hands yet. I know. It just makes my chest hurt just that little bit.
We're on the verge of the next gen, and we have all these last gen devices sitting around, which I definitely cleaned house and sort of sold off some of my devices because I'm getting just stoked for what's coming next. That'll be great when we get that KTR1 because you probably send it to Fox, who will do a review for the blog.
Right.
At some point and get some dev stuff going on there. That'll be huge. We also have other devices, though, we're not talking about. We have the X18S, which is about to drop, which if you're a clamshell guy... Delayed. I know, but hey, it matches your PS5. My PS5 anyways, because I kept mine with the white shell. And it has a big upgrade from the X18 itself.
Mm-hmm.
The UI and software is going to be garbage. I already know it's garbage. It's going to need lineage. We're going to need.
Is Seraph going to be tagging in on that? Is he already planning on that?
I'm hoping so. If not, I know Turtle's going to be going for it because X18 and X15 has sort of been his bag. So I think it's a continuation of that. So I like clamshells. I just do. I don't know why. It's just there's something about the XD that always got to me. So I love that form factor. So I'm going to try to pick one of these up. We also got the
clamshell
A20.
I'm into is the Game Boy Advance SP. I know that's weird, but
well, I got my V90, second V90 on the way.
Second V90.
Have my SP experience in my life. Well, the first one had a hair under the LCD. It was really weird. I sent it back.
I hope it's good. I hope it doesn't have like anything else under the screen. All right.
I know it's just like a fingernail, like just under the screen,
just
like
a
eyeball,
little,
like a salamander stuck under there. Like what the hell? I don't know. It was one of those like AliExpress $20 coupons.
The 18S looks pretty good. I mean, I understand the clamshell inclination. It doesn't feel very pocketable to me to have those form factors, but I love that the screen's so protected.
Yeah, the screen is very protected. I always worry about that, even though I busted a phone screen once for sure. But beyond that, tend to be pretty careful with these things. I don't know. It's nice. It snaps, a little satisfying snap sound.
Yep. Well, what else do we have on the horizon?
Well, we have the A20, another Android handheld from Powkitty. So we have the whole Pow Children line.
The Pow Children. Pow Chillins.
The Pow Chillins, which the A20, what even is in that? I can't even keep up anymore. It's coming.
Did you see that I asked Powkitty what the hell their naming scheme is about? Did you see this? I directly asked them, what is the A in A19 and A20
right. What
mean, right? What does that even mean? And they just said they said nothing. It's just a way to differentiate the devices, essentially.
Oh,
like it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean shit.
There's no meaning.
Like I expected like A to mean Android or something like that. No, didn't mean anything.
And X to mean extra cool.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know.
We're dads. Leave us alone.
Leave us alone. So the A20 is a vertical form factor. Kind of looks like the 351V. Kind of really looks like the Retroid Pocket 1.
Yeah.
With more beefy stuff. And what it actually is the TRDR Pocket rebranded.
It is. I'm sorry. There's only one word for this industry with this kind of shit, and it's incestuous. All right? That's
incestuous
the word for it.
Turders.
Holy crap.
Turducken. Turdaculous.
This whole let's license a design and let's rip each other off thing is crazy.
It's nuts. People going like, why at this point, man? Why aren't more companies on the West starting to make some of these devices? Besides, Playdate, sure. Why? Like you and I should talk about like, let's just make a device. Like, let's just talk. Let's just workship that.
Yeah, you and Haver in my freaking DMs.
Yeah, we're bugging you. We're bugging you.
You're an engineer.
I'm just saying, we got a lot of the moving parts. We got a lot of the things ready to go to just produce something that we love. And you got connections over there to just start producing. I know we need some capital, but hey, we should chat more about that.
I can make the molds myself. Just saying. I've got a list for my dream device. All right.
Yeah.
It's in a text file on my desktop. It's
Thor's thoughts.txt.
Right. We're getting there is the thing. We're getting there. I have really high hopes for the RP3. I think it's going to be so close to that dream device. The only thing
you're whispering. You're whispering in Retroid engineers' ears, like, "Hey, add in the stuff. Add in 5 gigahertz. Make sure to do the 5 gigahertz."
I will admit that I wouldn't say I have influence necessarily. But
you're designing the RP3 from behind the scenes in a way.
No, I'm not. Don't tell people that. They'll believe that shit. Don't do that. I have had some input on it though. All right, nothing amazing, but some software features, some hardware features. I expressed that they needed to happen. 5 gigahertz. that needed to happen. All right.
Yeah.
You know, that had to
Touchscreen.
happen.
Touchscreen has to happen on
absolutely
RP3.
had to happen.
Has to happen.
Stop making non-touchscreen Android devices.
Don't
all right?
ruin my life with another mouse mode handheld.
But I
Can't handle it.
I'm going to put that. And I've brought this up a couple times before, not on the podcast, but I want you guys to think about why the RP3 has a USB-C port on the bottom. I just want you to think about it. I want you to consider it.
Don't tell me pin holder dock.
No, it's
Don't
not a
you tell
pen.
me.
It's not a pen holder.
Okay.
It's not a pen holder.
Then I'm not listening.
Shout out to Playdate. But
Right?
I have dreams. I think the RP3 is going to be close. I wish the RP3 had the Snapdragon 845 in it, and I'm really hoping that kind of comes together for the KTR1. Personally,
Yeah.
but
It needs
because the KTR1 is so self-driven by one person, right?
Yeah.
My hopes and dreams rely on the Retroid Pocket 3 right now.
I'm excited for the Retroid Pocket 3. I want to see more about it. I want to see what their prototype looks like. I want to see it's existing.
Yeah.
Part of me wonders some days, but I know you're a little bit more close to the situation, so I would love to
we bug them. We
get
bug
more
Retroid.
updates. Yeah, I think we definitely do.
As time gets closer to a release on that, we'll definitely have some more information for people. So
now, what else are we forgetting right now? Because it's an entire season. We're entering a season of handheld releases. What do you whisper seductively at me?
I whispered PlayStation. That's what I whispered.
Oh, PlayStation. Well, sure. There's the PlayStation like Plus model coming out for the PS5 or whatever. The 2.0, but the PlayStation's showcase took place while I was in Alaska.
Yeah.
So I was popping on today, seeing that Insomniac Games is releasing just killer content. Right? They released Ratchet and Clank. They are doing Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
They're just killing it across the board. So what else? That's all I looked at, though. What else is coming out?
Well, you have the Knights of the Old Republic remake, which I am just like, yeah, exactly. Dear Lord.
Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross is getting a remake.
Chrono
Did you
Cross?
see that?
Really? No, I didn't.
Did you see
Where
that?
is this?
Oh, man. I think it came to me through Facebook, of all diseased and vile places.
Oh, the Kingdom Hearts 4, the NVIDIA leak. Yeah. That also mentioned, and this may not be verified, but it also mentioned a Final Fantasy IX remake as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in there. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 4, Chrono Cross
Remaster.
Final
Fantasy IX remake and a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster.
Yes, this was leaked on GameRant.com.
Yeah.
I
put the link up in RH today, and everyone was like, "No, fuck you. This isn't real."
It could be, but it's true.
But it's about Game Rant. I mean,
it's who knows, but it's pretty neat. That's pretty cool. The Tactics remaster. I mean, I'm sure that that Rapid's just rolling around on the floor in his house, going, "Oh yes, it's finally happening." And they do like the old English style, and oh my goodness, I'm doing a terrible impersonation of Rapid. He sounds much more gentlemanly.
He is,
and he is just a delight.
He is.
He's a delight.
But yeah, there's that. They announced a Wolverine game, which classic bullshit teaser for that, where it was just him sitting at a bar and the claws pop out. Come on, don't announce it unless you have something to show. I'm fucking sick of this. Quit announcing games that are going to take 4 years to come out. All right. You know what I mean?
I don't. You like those games, don't you? You like the Guardians of the Galaxy and the X-Men and the Wolverine games.
I do like that. It's not so much Marvel as I like beat 'em ups. I like hack and slash.
Yeah.
Not the Dark Souls shit. That
no,
I don't like to be tormented.
You don't want to struggle. You don't want to be on the struggle bus too much.
Hashtag
like Mega
Dark
Man
Souls, X. Hashtag Mega Man. Although I will admit I beat all the Zero games on GBA when I was a kid. Just saying.
Sweet. Well, yeah. Those are good games. I beat the classics.
Easier.
For the NES, those were harder. That's where we called those. What we called, the actual hard Mega Man games. Taking it back.
Well,
I'm not humble bragging. I'm just
Good
regular bragging.
good for you.
Hey, I can't do it anymore. Well, I mean, in January, I did knock out Mega Man 1 in an hour with save states.
Oh
Not
my
gonna-
gosh.
Not gonna lie, with the little
Listen
cheat
to him.
system to get
Listen
through
to
the one boss. Hey, I don't have a lot, but I do have Mega Man playthroughs. So
I'll tell you what else I like though.
what do you want?
I'm a shooter guy.
Yeah.
I love them. Tiny
Yeah.
Tina's Wonderlands,
Yes,
which is
that looks
not
good.
words I ever thought would be connected in my mouth. If you remember Borderlands 2, the
Sure.
Tiny Tina's Dungeons and Dragons DLC. All right.
Okay.
Okay. The look at your
Yeah.
face. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Sarah or
Borderlands.
Chthonox loves Borderlands, so I'll get.
So
filled in
it's
on this.
getting a full game. All right.
nice.
With magic and guns and all that weird shit led by Tiny Tina. So
Tiny Tina is a llama, right?
no. Tiny Tina's
Okay.
a little girl whose parents got murdered by Jack, one of
Jesus.
the bad guy. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's really dark.
Oh, I was
But
thinking
she's-
Napoleon
she's
Dynamite.
She's a crazy person and she loves bombs. So it's a whole thing.
Oh.
You'll have to play Borderlands. and
Oh,
find
I've
out.
seen her on the character selection screen. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. She has bombs
So-
for hands. She's going nuts.
So Tiny Tina is getting her own game for the Dungeons and Dragons Borderlands stuff. It's going to be crazy.
Chthonox, Tiny Tina's getting her own game from Borderlands. Is that cool? You like? Does that
Really?
excite you?
Really?
Yeah, she's excited.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Uncharted Remastered. All right, that's coming. The Thieves Collection.
I like that. I love Uncharted. The whole
Do you?
series, every game, everyone. Except
I've
for
never-
the first.
I've never played them, so this will probably be my opportunity. I know it's
Oh,
one of those.
it's right up
It's
your
one of those
alley. I mean,
blind
it's-
spots. Yeah. I
Well,
believe
it's
you.
like it's good. You
I
know,
like
like
Tomb
you played
Raider,
Ratchet
that
and
kind of
Clank
stuff.
recently, right? It's in
Yeah.
that vein, just more adventure-y and Tomb Raider skinned, but
Right.
it's an action platformer and it's freaking awesome. Uncharted 4, so
That
good,
huh? That good.
heart wrencher.
I
Just
believe you.
thinking about it now, it takes me back.
So PlayStation brought up fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 again. Like, stop.
Who cares?
Stop.
Where is Grand Theft Auto 6? Where are our HD ray traced hookers that we were promised?
That's right.
What
I want
is
to mow
going
them
on?
down. All right.
Yes, you run them down in your car, and you take the cars that you want, you
Mhm.
drive around, and you theft them, and they're autos,
I
mobile,
like it.
automobiles.
6 times.
6 for the 6th time, you Grand Theft Auto, and you drive off jumps, and there's cars and there's
He's trying.
cops, and
He's
they're going
really trying right now.
and their lights are going crazy, and they're all chasing you. And every time I pick up that game, I immediately just go nuts and see how long I can outrun the cops. And my
Right.
stars are like 5. And there's
Right.
helicopters shooting me, and I'm driving into the bay, and there's
Which is the
like
whole point.
tanks. And I'm like, okay, I made it 10 minutes this time.
That's right.
I'm going to go do something else now.
Well,
So
you know what you could do is
Yeah.
get Alan Wake Remastered is coming out. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just played that game in January, and it was so good. I
is
will
good.
happily play it again.
It is good. It's not a remake, it's a remaster, so it's not as gorgelicious, which is
That
a
was
new
a
word.
remake. Take back my previous excitement and joy. I will not play it, but I will definitely watch a video and be like, "Oh, those graphics look better." Sweet.
Yeah. And then you're right. I am excited for the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
I know you are.
It's not getting a lot of love from a lot of people because it's not going to be complicated. What's wrong with a game not being complicated?
You're Star-Lord.
Yeah.
That's who you are in your,
Well, you're
in your
the
life.
teen, you know?
Yeah. I'm the little raccoon guy.
Are you?
Grunty. Was that his name? What's his name?
Rocket. Jesus.
Rocket. Right. I don't
Is
know
this
where
your
that
blind spot? Is Marvel? The big blind spot.
it's stick tree stick animated
Groot.
tree stick guy, Groot
There
and
you
Grunty. Groot and Grunty. Why
Did you eat
they
an
should have called him
edible?
Grunty. No. I'm just being a tard.
What?
Being
Why didn't they call him Grunty? Jesus.
I want to call him Grunty. Hashtag should have been Grunty. Now I have
Well,
something
no, I'm-
important that I want to talk about.
Oh my gosh. What?
Forget everything else. Here we go. The N-GAGE.
Oh my
The
god.
N-GAGE. Sebion listened to our podcast
Jesus, tap
and he
dancing
linked
Christ.
me and he said, hold on, there is an N-GAGE emulator. Not only for Android, but for Linux and for Windows and for Macintosh. Whatever you want. It's been compiled. It's ready to go right now. I'm like, what? There is this whole time. I wished
You
it
have a
into
sickness.
existence because I checked on the N-GAGE community. Like a year ago, there was no development. Nothing was happening. Sure, you can get the ROMs, but you can't play them unless you buy a freaking N-GAGE. And he's like, there it is. So you know what I've been doing today in preparation for this podcast? I've been building myself a whole thing to play N-GAGE, and I played N-GAGE, and I played Tony Hawk and its tiny 2-inch vertical screen with its
Isn't it
little...
like a 1-to-1 aspect ratio or something
Yeah.
awful like that?
Yeah, and it's a pain in the ass to get the whole thing set up. I had to follow an ETA Prime video that wasn't
An
quite up to
old
date, an older one, so I had to like do some internet page 6 Googling research to figure it out. But I got there, and I'm like playing the Elder Scrolls game, and it's so terrible, but I love it because it's like the only platform that Shadow Key was released for, Elder Scrolls Shadow Key. And I don't know, there's just like these little niche games like Crash Team Racing. There's a version of that on there. I'm like, this is so neat. This is an awful experience, and I remember why I sold it when I had one. But I'm so happy.
You know what
about
else
this.
has
So,
Crash Team Racing? The
What?
fucking PlayStation 5. All right. So
yeah, but like, why would you do that when you could have N-GAGE?
when you could play the N-GAGE version.
Now, here's my wish list. Thank you, N-GAGE community, for bringing Symbian OS, an emulator for it. Not just for the N-GAGE, but you can emulate all kinds of Nokia phones. You can play Snake, whatever Symbian OS game you want, Java stuff. Now, but here's what we need to do. We're going to take this. First of all, we're going to have from Reset Collection, obviously, added in the Reset Collection to be supported. Right. Has to be, right? Has to be. Need to be. Like, now, here's the other thing. We got to get a RetroArch core for it.
Uh-huh.
And we gotta just spread the word.
I'm honestly a little surprised there isn't already a RetroArch core for it. There's some obscure shit in RetroArch.
I know, right? And it was built. It's been available since at least summer of last year.
Yeah.
So it's nuts that there's not been more fanfare about this, guys. There is an N-GAGE emulator for all platforms right now, and it works mostly. Some games, not yet.
A little chunky, yeah.
I'm going to throw a link on it somewhere. This is, you have to suck.
Well,
I was just joking in the last episode when I brought up the N-GAGE. I was just trying to be
and then Seb
jerk.
was like, oh.
And now actual nostalgia has risen within me. And my day has been
I can't
a
believe
joy.
You bought one of those fucking things originally.
Oh,
I can't believe anybody bought one of those things originally.
Well, I didn't just buy one, I bought
that's right.
the QD, the Plus, the 2.0 as well, because it, well, the first one didn't work as a phone very well. That was my problem with that one. You had to hold it kind of wonky to use it as a phone, and you just look so stupid. Now, the QD, you looked stupid too, and it also didn't work as a phone, but it had a little bit of a faster processor, I think, and it was like a little bit more modern, like by a year. So that was really cool in 2004. Having said that, I'm off this topic, but I will be back. You mark my words. Now back to Reset Collection. I also heard rumors that because the randomizer's in there, the Hav now has added in a search feature with the filter system. So be on the lookout, because this is now my favorite front end officially, by the way, of all platforms. So I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm going to, we sound like shills. Hav is one of our personal friends, and
he is a friend,
formerly a producer for the podcast. So
he is. But if he wasn't any of those things, I would be equally as stoked on it.
Absolutely.
But
He's just
Moving
killing it
on.
with reset. He's
He's
killing
killing
it
it.
with the feature
I'm
updates.
stoked.
All right, that's all I'm saying. And with the
what I'm
auto
saying.
scraping and stuff, Pegasus is great, but it's a pain in the ass. Let me just say that.
It's just, when you're an adult and you don't have a lot of time for stuff, like you just get the ROMs on, just scrape the artwork and go. Like, just go. And then the thing I'd always been saying is like, well, I just want to just turn it on, just hit a button, picks a game, whatever it is. Just want to play it. And now that's
you
the thing.
finally got that.
All week in Alaska, I was enjoying the motherfuck out of my GPD, playing through all of these random games it was picking me. I'm like, Iridian was another random one that I just landed on. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to see if I can play through this from start to finish, just because it picked it for me. And that was a joy. People were, they were trying to be like, hey, look at the fish, look at the beautiful mountainscapes, look at the everything. And I'm like, hold on a minute. I'm shooting things. So you wait, you watch. So there's that. Now, do you want to talk some shit for a minute?
Yes, let's talk some shit.
Let's talk some shit. All right. So
welcome to our new segment, Shit Talking.
In Shit Talk Lightning Round, today's featured handheld is the GPD XP model. Now, this is basically a elongated 16 by 19 or something crazy.
Or something like that.
It's a long boy. It's the long boy is what I call it. And it has these like MOBA controls you can put on for some reason, but no one will ever do that.
No.
And,
it's a bad call. It's just a bad call. It's going to be
a bad choice.
It's going to have plenty of power, blah, 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 blah. It's a bad call.
Yeah.
And the rumor is, and I haven't confirmed any of this, that GPD originally was filled with more passionate developers, and then it was kind of taken over by corporate minds who are trying to...
They're researching the children.
To churn out gaming hardware for the masses. And it's not it, I mean, the MP kids is still a viable thing.
Right.
The XP,
no.
Well, and I'm not trashing on people who are going to love it, because
no.
If you're going to love it, it was designed for you. All right,
exactly,
100%.
For sure. But the thing is, though, is that you have like the Asus ROG phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a true gaming phone. Right. If you're a true serious like MOBA gamer, or you're playing a lot of Android games, you're probably going to pick up a phone. Just make your phone be that, and you're going to throw on a controller. Asus even has these special side controller snap-ons, right? That are magnetic or something. I was looking at that today, and
the Kichi or the GameSir, or
the same thing,
whatever that is.
And they'll pick up a phone that has like a Snapdragon 888 in it.
Right.
They're going to want top tier. The XP, sure, you can play PUBG. Sure, you can play Genshin Impact a bit,
MOBAs,
I'm sure. MOBAs and all that stuff. But I just don't understand it. It's not going to be a good retro emulation device because of that damn long-ass screen. You're going to have these bezels that are for days. And if you're a bezel just addict, if you're just crazy about your bezels, then it's for you.
But not just that weird end controller thing that swaps out. It comes with 3 separate end caps for controllers.
Because you might just want to cap it off to just have one side of a controller to like whip it out of your pocket and be like, boom, I got this.
Yeah.
And then slip it in.
Stop making all of this shit modular. It's weird.
We don't need modular.
No, we don't.
We just need the one.
We need low profile so it can fit in our pocket, the opposite pocket away from our phone. That's where these companies aren't getting it. There's 2 sets of gamers in this mobile space. All right.
Right.
Well, 3 really, because you have the corporate ones like the Switch and things like that. But you have, for Android users, you have the ones who want to do it on their phone with like a Kishi, right, or GameSir. And then you have the ones that just want to put something in their pocket so they don't get notifications while they're playing a fucking game. Right. Which I am firmly implanted in.
Right. And, here I am researching new phones because my Samsung is starting to fail me. Battery life is just going through the bad. Just tanking. It's just dying. I don't know what's wrong with it. But the point is, I'm looking at new phones and I'm like thinking like, all right, I want like the best Snapdragon processor to play GameCube at 8K. And Chthonox reminded me, you don't play games on your phone.
No.
you buy dedicated devices for that. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
what if, like, while I'm researching new phones, what if I do? She's like, but you don't. I'm like, but I have a Kishi. She's like, but you don't use that
Right.
ever.
And
Except for
neither
like
do
the
I.
first week you had it. I'm like, yeah, but you know, and what do I use my phone for? Taking awesome pictures. Pictures of the kids. Your best camera is the one you have with you.
Right.
Google Pixel knocks it out of the park for the camera.
And the best handheld is the one that you have with you.
And the best handheld is the one you have with you as
The one
well.
you actually use.
Correct. Which, again, for me, a lot of the time is my GPD or my Retroid Pocket 2.
And
soon to
it's
be my Game Force.
It's my 351V right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I really like it.
You like it.
Yeah.
Pick it up. It's the one you go for. If you go on a trip, you go somewhere, it's probably the one you pack along.
Yep.
And you can get around, I realize you can get around these small battery issues by just bringing a power bank.
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying, but it saved. I really realized how awesome power banks are this last week, being without power and electricity for a week.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, all my devices eventually will die. Except for that never had to charge that XD though. GPD back when they were freaking awesome. 6,000 milliamp battery in there. Oh, keep that up. Keep doing that. They don't even have phones with 6,000. The top tier phones these days have 5,000 max.
All right, I have something to bring to the table on shit talking.
Yeah,
and
let's shit talk.
This is going to be a controversial one. All right.
Okay.
I really am starting to dislike the Steam Deck.
Oh, that's no surprise to me now, but yeah, I hate the community around it. They're driving me nuts.
Yeah, they're a little much because it's that PC community.
Yeah, I don't hate them. It's just like,
they're just a little much. It's a different flow entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
And it tends to get really weird or really aggro out of nowhere, right?
Yeah,
in that community.
Right.
But the Steam Deck proper, I'm seeing less and less of a point for it. I know, again, this is going to piss a lot of people off, but
I don't think so.
It's so big and it's x86, and I'm sitting here looking at this cacophony of glorious Android devices, right?
Right.
That can stream from your PC. You don't need the PC not in your pocket because that fucking Steam Deck's never going to fit in your pocket unless you're like a literal giant. All right.
And people are going to say like, but I want to play my Steam library outside the house. But you're not going to bring that outside the house. You're not going to take it on the bus.
You're not going to whip that playing The Witcher 3 on the bus, guy. You're not going to do it. If you're commuting
bumping elbows with
with
Sally G over here.
Well, yeah, it's just so big, and there's no way the battery's going to be able to hold up.
Right.
Not with that usage. Yeah, maybe 9 hours with a SNES game on low brightness or something like that. But
for those of us with bigger hands, like you're a guy with bigger hands, right?
Yeah.
You've chunks.
I'm a giant. So
I'm on my way to gianthood. At least my hands seem to be. Like I can see like Linus Tech Tips, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was holding the Steam Deck and it looks so damn ergonomic. He was comparing it today to the new GPD Win Max Gen 2.
Okay.
And he's like, man, this thing has a lot of power in it. It's rivaling the Steam Deck easily, but it's just not comfortable. He's like, the Steam Deck, kind of the way it curves, seems to be a really comfortable form factor. So I'm still curious to have one to try it out just for form factor. And maybe it'll be comfy because the last use case is just having a handheld to play in bed, you know? And that's the one place where a bigger device could potentially work out okay. Just a bit of gaming before bed.
A huge portion of my personal business, what I do for an actual living, involves ergonomic design, right?
Right.
So
yeah, that's right.
Spines and hands and faces and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the issue that I take with the Steam Deck isn't how nicely it will sit in the hands. It's how fucking heavy and hefty that thing's going to be. This isn't going to be one of those things that you can lay down and keep above your face.
Above your head.
Like a Game Boy. You can do that with a Game Boy, you know?
Oh, sure, you can. So you'd have to put a pillow behind you and kind of sit up a bit in bed.
Right. But this thing's you're going to rest it on your lap, essentially at all times. You're not going to be holding it up, you know?
Right. So otherwise, you're doing cardio. I mean, you're burning calories with that thing, lifting it up and down.
At what point is it not really a handheld anymore? You know what I mean?
Sure. I get it. And
Just because it's shaped like a handheld doesn't really, I don't really see it as a handheld. I see it as a single board computer that's never going to leave your fucking dock, you know?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have a dock yet. It needs a dock.
Well, it's going to. It's going to have it will have
eventually. Eventually it'll have a dock. So it needs to have a pin holder.
The pen hole. Oh my God.
I need it to have different I need to buy some pins to put so I have pins to put in a pin holder. I get it. It's not a handheld, you're right. And I saw that from the get-go. I'm like, the size it's going to be, it's not a handheld. No, it's something new. It's like a phablet, right? It's It's some sort of monster between a handheld and a console. I don't know what it is.
The reason why I'm bringing it up in the same breath as the XP is because it seems like this is like the first version of something where the second version is going to be better. It's sort of like with the Retroid Pocket, right?
Right.
You had the A19 with that weird Game Boy shape and the 6 buttons and all that the licensed design, right?
Right.
And then they went actual proprietary with the Retroid Pocket 2, and it was way better. And now they're going to release the Retroid Pocket 3 soon. And if you look at the blueprints, that thing looks smexy. All right. It looks great.
It looks good. It looks really good. And the Pocket 2, even being so low powered, is so continuing to be so popular.
Yeah.
On design alone.
Yeah.
And people are okay that it's not hitting these benchmarks of like top tier N64 performance.
I think that the Steam Deck is the first version of something great eventually.
Right.
I think revision 2 or maybe even revision 3 will be it. Sort of like the Quest, right? The Oculus Quest. Where you had the original Oculus Quest and you had all the other standalone things, and then the Quest 2 came out and everybody in that community sort of went, "Oh, this is it." You know? This is it. You don't agree with that?
It's it, but they dropped the OLED screen. They dropped the OLED screen from the first one. The first one playing horror games. I am a whiny, complainy bastard.
The OLED. Go buy your Switch OLED and be satisfied.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. I'm okay not having an OLED on a handheld. That's one thing. But if you're playing a horror game in VR when it's strapped an inch from your face, you notice, the horror game you play on a Quest 1 versus the horror game you play on a Quest 2. I'm sorry, like I have both of those and I've compared it directly and I'm like, oh, it's so much better having that OLED and the blacks.
Did the Quest have the screen dooring though? The first one?
It did. That's the trade-off is that yes, you're right. It had, because OLEDs are going to have that issue a bit more. Yeah. You're going to get a little bit more of the screen door effect.
So there's a trade-off.
There is a trade-off.
What I'm specifically talking about is the battery life, the processing power, connectivity.
Yeah, it wins in all of those. In all of those factors. I mean, Beat Saber is a delight on it.
Yeah.
Pretty much every game is a delight, except horror games. I can't get into them on the Quest 2. I mean, it's just you just see a lot of gray.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
But my point is that those secondary generations are usually where it gets fixed up,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So I see the Steam Deck coming out, and then I see a Steam Deck 2 coming out in 2 or 3 years, and me finally going, you don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think it's not going to be as popular and like wide. I think once people get it, that it's probably going to be like, okay, this was a really cool idea, guys. This was really good. There's a certain niche that are going to love it, and they're going to buy up all the stock. And I think it's probably going to be more like the Steam Link and the Steam controller in the end. I think it's going to be a solid effort.
And the Steam machines. Don't forget about those.
And the Steam machines. I mean, look at the history of Valve here. And I'm really not trying to put them down here because I also love all of those efforts, and I've owned all of those efforts. Mm-hmm. But I think it's probably going to be closer to that than it is like, oh my God, this was amazing. We need a Gen 2. We're doing a Gen 3. The one thing that I think they've done well on, though, is probably VR. I think VR, though...
Yeah, but they don't make their own shit for that. HTC makes those.
Right. Well, no, they're doing the Valve Index now. Even that, though, right, was made by...
It's still made by HTC, isn't it?
Still made by HTC. I need to double check it.
Yeah.
Either way,
we need to confirm that.
think I think it's going to be more of a one-off. I think Steam Deck's going to be more of a one-off niche device.
Yeah.
That's going to have a pretty good support community around it that are going to love it.
I would have been happier with them using that same processing hardware and
Uh-huh.
fulfilling the promise of the Steam machine.
That would have been sweet. Something a little smaller, like a Smart Z
but like,
kind of thing.
Like, because NVIDIA hasn't released a new Shield TV, right?
Sure. Yeah.
If they had done that, if they had done like a Steam TV with that same processing hardware, I think that would have been killer, man. I mean, killer.
I mean, yeah.
Because you just bought a home theater PC setup with the Ryzen and stuff.
Right.
I mean, $500 for what they're offering, maybe with a little more power than what's in the Steam Deck. I'd do it too.
Like I love my Shield TV. I want something now. I'm ready for something a little more powerful. The X1 Plus or whatever it was. That AI 4K upscaling is pretty sweet, but I want something powerful. So I'm building it myself.
I expect the Steam Deck to be able to play GameCube games like hard.
Yeah, it's going to. So, I mean, it'll be cool. I don't know. We'll see.
We will see.
We will see. We can go on and on about these handhelds in our bitch list, but
I like it, but I expect better. How about that?
Yeah, and the GPD XP
for Midwest shit talking.
The GPD XP.
I'm disappointed in you.
I don't think I'm going to buy that.
No,
I don't. Like I try out almost every handheld, whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
I let you meet Shield and try it out for me.
Right, exactly. I bought this Powkity V6 power bank NES player, which, by the way, has the buttons, the form factor, the feel of the thing, and the buttons are actually really high quality, ridiculously high quality for a $20 handheld off AliExpress. However, it is the same like chipset and 99 built-in NES games with multiple duplicates that you see on every device in this category. And that's disappointing. You got the screen tearing issues. I can't even enjoy playing Contra on it. I will use it as a power bank, though, for the 8,000 milliamp battery life that it has, not 10,000 that it claims. I'll use it for that, and I hope it won't catch on fire. But I'm not going to buy the GPD XP. I think it's silly, and I'd rather just have a cool gaming phone. And I really just want my Odin to show up already. That's what I want. Like, let's just get these over here. Let's get these Odins here.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, well.
That's what I got for you.
This was a good chit chat tonight, man. I had a particularly good time.
Me too. Well, sir, enjoy your time in Wisconsin.
I will.
You're going to Wisconsin, right?
Yep.
Adventures. Cool.
Adventures await. And by adventures, I'm just going to be real with y'all because I love you. I mean alcoholism. All right.
Yeah. Oh, man. We ran out of Fireball whiskey on day 3. You know?
I hope that I make it home safe without my liver shutting down this weekend. So
if not, if I don't hear from you or you don't get check-ins, I'm gonna drive there. I'm gonna fly there. I'm gonna rent a motorcycle, and I'm
still gonna be like 100% available as usual.
Well, I'm gonna be riding my motorcycle in. Okay, I'll rent it. I'll learn to ride a motorcycle just for this, and I will be like, Thor, here's your spare liver. I got it from the hospital.
Nice.
Hurry, install it before the cops show up.
That cloned liver. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. Well, it's been good. Until next time, everybody, we are so thankful and grateful you're here with us, and we can't wait to do it again.
We love you all.
Love you all. It's such an exciting time in the handheld scene right now. We're on the verge, the precipice of all of the good things.
We're still close, but so far.
We're getting there. All right. Good night, everybody. This has been BRB Gaming. I am Stubbs.
And I am Thor. Good night, everybody.
Good night.